Okay, variation basically deals with how one quantity changes with respect to the other quantity. That's exactly what we mean by variation. Now, there are two main types of variations we'll discuss. The very first being direct variation, where one quantity varies directly with respect to the other. Okay, as an example, observe the fraction 1 by 2. Okay, we have done this before in proportion. If we multiply upper niche by 2, the ratio becomes 2:4. Okay, it's equal to 1 by 2 again. Okay, just that the first quantity or the numerator increased by 2, double, and the denominator also doubled. Okay, similarly, if you multiply the numerator by 10 now, the denominator also gets multiplied by 10. We have 20 by 40, still the ratio remains the same. Okay, this is exactly what is the meaning of direct variation, guys. When one quantity increases, the other quantity also increases by that same factor. Okay, when one quantity reduces, like 20 से 2 हो गया, 1/10 हो गया, the second quantity will also reduce by that same factor, 1 by 10th. Okay, and this is what we mean by direct variation. Okay, for this to happen, the ratio of the two quantities should be constant. Okay, so x upon y should be a constant equal to k. Okay, we denote this with x alpha. Okay, Greek symbol alpha y. Okay, that tells you x is directly proportional to y. Okay, if you draw the graph of x and y in this case, okay, you will be observing it is a linear graph. Okay, we'll discuss in detail about linear functions aage jaake when we study functions and graphs and coordinate geometry. But right now, remember, this is the variation between x and y. Okay, and this variation is called as a linear variation because if you plot a graph, it is a linear graph. Okay, let's go on to the next type of variation, that is inverse variation. Inverse variation में ठीक उल्टा होता है. Okay, when one quantity increases, the other quantity reduces by that same factor. We'll see how. Okay, let's take the example of the number 600. We can factorize 600 as 1 into 600, right? अब अगर ये 1 को हमने suppose कर दिया double and 600 को हमने कर दिया अगर half. Okay, so 1 is being multiplied by 2 and 600 is being divided by 2. We'll get 2 into 300. The product is still constant. Okay, but the first number has increased or basically become double. The second number has reduced or was divided by 2. Right, same way अगर इसी number 2 को हमने 1.5 से multiply किया and the number 300 we divide by 1.5, the product will still remain constant, 3 into 200. But we observe that the first number became 1.5 times and the second number became divided by the same value. Okay, that is exactly the case of inverse variation, and for that to happen, the product of the two quantities should remain a constant. So like in this way, x is proportional to 1 upon y in this case, and we'll say that x is inversely proportional to y. Okay, the graph will be like this. I've shown on the screen right now. So the graph of x versus y will be something like this. X varies inversely as y, rectangular hyperbola. So I traveled from Pune to Mumbai in 3 hours at the speed of 120 kilometers per hour. It's all fictitious. Okay. If my speed had been reduced by 16.6%, then find the time taken. Okay. Now we will see this in detail when we study percentages. 16.6% is basically 1/6 in terms of fractions. Okay. So my speed is reducing by 1/6. Matlab my speed is reducing by 120 into 1/6, which is 20 kilometers per hour. Okay, so initial speed is 120 kilometers per hour. When you subtract them, okay, the new speed is 100 kilometers per hour. Okay, now we use the concept that whenever distance is constant, the speed is inversely proportional to time. Speed का formula होता है speed is equal to distance upon the time. Okay, so if distance is constant, product of speed and time is constant. Whenever the product of two quantities is constant, the quantities are inversely proportional, right? So the product will remain constant, speed into time will be a constant. So 120 ka speed into 3 hours will be 100 ka speed into x number of hours. Okay, 1 0 chala gaya, 12 3 36 upon 10. The new time required is 3.6 hours. Okay, guys, so we need to also understand the very significance of the term variation here. So when distance is constant, speed is inversely proportional to time. Using this knowledge, okay, we can say that speed reduces by 1/6 or it is becoming 5/6 of itself. Okay, by inverse variation, we'll be able to say that the time becomes 6/5 of 3. Directly, you get the answer as 3.6 hours. Okay, just remember this concept and remember the shortcut we have used right now, because we'll be applying this shortcut in multiple places aage jaake, okay, especially in questions based on time, speed, distance, and time and work. All right, so we'll go on to the next question now. The volume of a gas is directly proportional to the temperature. Okay, that means V is proportional to T. Okay, I think it is called as the Charles law, if I'm not wrong. Okay. At 273 Kelvin, the volume occupied by the gas is 33.6 decimeter cube. Find the temperature of the gas at which it occupies 56 decimeter cube. Okay. Now we have been told that the volume is directly proportional to temperature. Matlab, the ratio of these two quantities will remain a constant. V1 upon T1 is equal to V2 upon T2. Right? V1 is 33.6 decimeters cube upon T1 is 273 Kelvin. V2 is 56, T2 हमें find करना है, isn't it? So we'll cross multiply, we'll keep T2 here. T2 will be 273 into 56 divided by 33.6. 33.6 को हमने काटा. So 11.2 into 3, 11.2 into 5. 3 nines are 27, 3 ones are 3, 91 into 5, 5 ones are 5, 5 nines are 45. 455 Kelvin is the required temperature in the second case. Okay, very simple. Use the ratio of volume upon temperature being constant, and we equate the two ratios. One unknown, that is the final temperature. We can find it